The MLO Bros are brought to you from our sponsors, Valley Insurance Group, Iron Fit Crew, and August's sponsors of the month, the Saccone Law Firm. It's only going to be a matter of time before we have to call them when we get sued. And also Tom Bird Herman from Subaru. Make sure to use any of our sponsors when you're looking for a car, gym, insurance, or you're getting sued. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for our sponsors of the month.
The following show features stupid opinions and ideas from two idiot brothers who probably did little research and practiced zero due diligence on the topic at hand. The MLO Bros' opinions do not reflect the views of their employer, guests, sponsors, families, neighbors, or pets. If you do not like what they are saying and don't agree with their views or opinions, don't watch the show. We can promise we do not care. Welcome to the worst show on the internet.
Hi, Isaac.
Hey.
Very far.
I'm right here.
I'm right here. Yeah,
No, don't get any closer. I like being close to you.
Hi, everyone. We are live with Chris Anderson from the Mahoning County Democratic Party.
Yep.
That's you. Hold on. So, welcome. See,
That was a pretty smooth intro today.
Thanks.
You did pretty well
we
there,
have
dude.
12 people. I'm telling you, we get throttled down when we talk about politics.
It might happen. I don't know. The last Facebook update, I think, hit us hard, too.
Crazy.
I'm also not an exciting guy, let's be honest.
No, no.
It could be you, Chris.
I
don't
think we're going to talk about politics too, and I want to get into Isaac. Isaac and I, if anybody's ever sensed our tone with politics,
I hate it.
and we're both kind of annoyed with it.
I hate the tribalism of it.
And I want to talk. And we're going to talk. This is going to be a good conversation talking to Chris because he's a straight shooter. I've never seen we got into it.
No, I don't think so.
We've bickered back and forth,
Yeah.
and actually every time we do, it's like, hey, okay, cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's been our conversations, and we message each
Which
other.
is someone Luke, you're pretty conservative. Chris, obviously pretty leftward leaning, but that's who you want to have a discussion with opposing viewpoints, because at least you can have a conversation. It's not I hate you too.
Right.
It's actually having a discussion about opinions, and it's okay that you disagree, and you can walk away knowing more about what the other side is thinking.
It's so hard to do that in today's atmosphere.
Oh yeah. It's real tough. It's real tough.
So Chris, let's learn about you first a little bit.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Yeah, so I grew up in Trumbull County. We moved around a little bit, but I graduated from Hubbard. And then my wife and I moved to Mahoning County 2000. Oh, Christ. 2010, something like that. I don't know. It's been a while. But yeah, YSU grad. I have my BSBA, my MBA from YSU. We live in Boardman, nothing really exciting there. My
kids, right? You said you had kids.
Yeah, we have two kids. We have a 3.5-year-old that's going on 35.
Yeah.
And we have a 7-month-old, and then a couple rescue dogs.
Yeah.
So,
Nice. Good. So, and then when did you? So, where'd you go to college? Where'd you go to school?
I went to YSU.
Went to YSU. Graduated with a
BSBA and an MBA.
BSBA, business
Business administration. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I graduated from the business school too.
Did you go to BSBA?
I think so.
I was in a few classes with O'Keel, actually.
Oh,
Were you?
Our boy
You look
O'Keel.
familiar. We might have even had.
We might have
classes
classes
together.
together.
Well, how old are you?
What's that?
How old are you?
33.
So he's a little bit older than you, but if he was there later,
Yeah.
if he was with O'Keel. I mean,
I graduated from YSU in 2016. So
Yeah, we might have had some overlap.
yeah.
all right. Okay. So then you come out. What stirred you into politics?
Yeah, so I to take a step back. So I was raised in a family that didn't have a whole lot of money. So I originally got involved in politics because I've spent my entire adult life watching folks attack the programs that helped me get where I am now.
What programs?
So Pell Grants, for example, or even stuff like even being raised by a single mom, even stuff like food assistance, stuff like that. So that's really what spurred me to get involved in politics. I'm a big believer that democracy is not a spectator sport. In our world, you're going to get all the change that you work for and all the change that you vote for. So I was voting for the change, but I got off the sidelines and started working for it instead.
Yeah.
So
I like that. That works.
Absolutely.
And then so you started doing this. So what was your first step into the world of politics?
Yeah, so I was a volunteer on my first national step was I was a volunteer on Obama's reelect in 2012, and then locally, my first campaigns locally is I helped a guy in Columbiana County named Nick Barbarak run for reelection. We got our clocks cleaned by Tim Ginter. Yeah, we got our clocks cleaned by Tim Ginter, which, I have nothing to do with Columbiana County politics, so I'm not going to express my opinion there.
Yeah.
So then 2015, I started getting involved a lot in Mahoning County politics. 2016, I helped out a handful of local candidates like now Judge Anthony Diapolito.
Yep.
So I worked pretty heavily on his campaign and just picked up more and more, progressively more and more stuff there. And then I helped refound the Mahoning County Young Dems. So in politics, when you see the term young in front of anything, really what it means is you're basically under the age of 40.
Okay.
So we restarted the Mahoning County Young Dems in 2016. And then a couple years into that, I got approached about serving as a vice president in the statewide organization. And then I eventually became the president of that organization. So in addition to being the chair of the party, I'm also the president of the third largest under 40 caucus in the country.
So, all right, let's get into the. I know, Isaac, you just can't stand it, right?
Yeah. If you don't enjoy politics, I'm sure that you definitely turn this off.
No, there's
I'll sprinkle in my questions.
So, yeah, I guess, because here's the thing. So we're like total opposite ends of the spectrum. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
Because, okay, I'm a registered Republican.
Yeah.
But Lord knows that drives me crazy. Like explain the political parts.
Yeah.
Because I guess for me, it's like, well, we'll start. Explain the political parties. Can you do that again?
You mean explain what they are?
In a fourth grade definition.
Yeah. So the easiest way to think of it is it's very hard to be a candidate on your own. So you lean into the support of a political party. And the political party in their most basic sense is a group of people who share the same values.
Okay.
So what happens is, you accept candidates, the candidates say, oh yeah, I share the values with you, I'm with you, blah, blah, blah. And then, the party then helps them get elected. So whether it's, helping raise the money, helping run field operations, for example, whether, anything like that. So that's the simplest way to really explain a political party. I think a lot of people don't really understand that, it's really complex to run for office. And that's where political parties kind of come in.
Would you ever vote for a Republican?
I'm sorry?
Would you ever vote for a Republican?
No.
Why?
Maybe Republicans before they went batshit crazy. Before they leaned into being hyper evangelical, hyper nationalists. But no, especially, the more and more that we've essentially become tribalized, there's no, back in the day, there was room for disagreement. There was room for disagreement and there was room for compromise. But now, especially this new batch of Republicans that have embraced the Jim Jordan Tea Party philosophies.
So it's the Tea Party then, right?
Well, that's their party now, though. Yeah. You know what I mean? Stephen,
I have no idea what that is.
So
more extreme Republicans.
So they're the people, a lot of your Tea Partyists think, like gay people are going to go to hell.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a bit of a stretch.
Well, no, I don't. I don't. I've heard people talk about stuff like that.
Who have you heard talk about that?
Look at any of the Facebook ads that the Mahoning County Party runs.
I think the far right, if that is the case, the far right totally thinks that.
Yeah, so if you think about it,
if
you think about it in terms of the far reaches of the party, right? So if you think about the far right, like that's really what you're talking about is, you're talking about people like Jim Jordan, but those are the people who've taken over their party. So, I can say with confidence that no, I wouldn't vote for a Republican, even if I wasn't the chair of the Democratic Party.
So I guess, what if you're running as a Democrat, right? If you're running as a Democrat and you have certain, like, they're the big ones, like, okay, you're pro-abortion, anti-gun,
drugs,
drugs are cool. Economics, we're more global, right? That would be
We're taxing the
taxing
companies.
the rich because rich people are the enemy, all that good stuff. What if you're running as Democrat, you have 3 of those things, right? But then he ends up being like pro-gun. Is that a no-no when you're running as Democrat?
So in our party, we've got a really broad tent. So when you talk about like being pro-gun, right? Like I'm an outdoorsman. I own several firearms.
Yeah.
But I bought them legally. I was background checked for every one of them.
Yeah.
I don't think that's unreasonable to ask people to do the same
I don't
thing.
either. Yeah.
I've been to gun shows with a friend of mine where we watched a guy walk in, check his shotgun with the sheriff that was standing in the door, put a sign on it that said $250 and sell it to someone for $250 in cash without ever even learning their name. We can all agree that's bad, right?
Yeah. Yeah. See, and what here's the problem that I have with this the whole political.
But before you go into that, though,
no.
the fringe right would now call me anti-gun.
Yeah.
Because I believe in common sense gun legislation like that.
Yeah.
See, but that's the problem with these freaking parties.
Yeah.
So he, and again, nothing against you.
No.
Immediately go into the right, the left.
Yeah.
To be fair, he asked me.
I know that. But yeah, I'm not saying that. But it's just our entire spectrum of everybody.
Yeah.
That is involved in politics.
Yeah.
Is left, right, left, right,
But, like,
left.
I guess my
right.
point-
See,
my
that's the
point
problem.
is
There's
that, like-
and I want to get back to how it was you were talking about it before, where they can mix, and I don't know if the country's ever going to get back.
I
to
just
that.
feel
I
like
really don't.
I don't know if we can talk if we have enough time to broach that question. You know what I mean?
Right? I just don't know.
But my point is that I feel like if you pick a side, they're going to in time try and sway. Like you can't be okay. I'm a Republican, but I'm like cool with the gays. Like it
Cool. You're cool
it
with
doesn't.
the gays?
It's like you kind of are like forced down this channel, and it's like okay, get with us or get off. Like get out of the team.
All right, I'm going to ask you a question. This is a setup. I'm even going to warn you. Has any local Democrat, it's just a general, change his views? Oh, I said he, because he was running for a national stage. Yes, Tim Ryan on gun control. 100%. Originally, he was very gun, and now, to be fair, have you seen the Tim Ryan commercial?
I would probably counter that by saying that at one point in time, the NRA was also very pro gun control until they realized they were never going to raise any fucking money that way.
And then now,
Sorry, am I allowed to say that?
No, you
Sorry.
can say whatever you want.
Swear. What about like Trump being totally like anti-China, and then Tim Ryan's commercial comes out, and he's like, "We're gonna go to war with China."
It was very
Bro,
well,
weren't
because-
you just standing up in Congress and talking about how bad
he's going
Trump
to a
is?
different thing now. He's got to pick up new voters.
And then he did like complete 180. Right.
Well,
you were on his thing. You were on his.
Yeah, I
Tim
mean,
Ryan thing.
Tim's
That was when we
always-
used to go back and forth.
Tim's
about Tim
always
Ryan.
Tim's always been about competing with China. I don't know if that's fair to tag him with he's changed his position there. He's always been about making our workers more competitive to compete with China. He's always been about he voted against NAFTA. He was really involved with the USMCA. He's always been about fair trade to ensure that our workers actually.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
If
But like from a
Hold on.
marketing background,
Luke
advertising student, it's like it just seems like he totally did that, Luke. He went from like advertising to this group to try and be like the popular guy that hates Trump.
I don't know if he's going to win this
and
year.
then totally turning and trying to grab another group of people.
He's
From, like, an advertising
he's
standpoint.
stretching it right now with what he's
Yeah.
trying to get.
Definitely.
Can you comment on that? With what he's running for, Tim Ryan is
He's running for the Senate. I mean, I only know what you guys know. I'm not tapped into. Yeah, I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm just a county party chair, man.
This is kind of funny. Luke hates Tim Ryan as I don't hate him. I just it's at this point it's almost like a gag at this point. Like he may be with 500 yards. Who's JD Vance? That JD Vance is JD Vance.
Fake hillbilly.
I don't know what
from
he's talking. I don't know what you're
The
talking.
Ivy League.
Yeah, so JD Vance, I like to call JD Vance JD Vance it's who Tim Ryan's running against. You just don't like him enough. You don't even know who he's running against.
No, I don't
To
even
be
know.
fair,
Can I-
JD Vance has spent so little time in Ohio
Yeah,
that his
no,
own
no,
party
no.
doesn't know
Yeah.
who he is either. So
I don't even know.
Yeah, JD Vance is he's what I like to call an Appalachian cosplayer. He wrote this book called he wrote a book called Hillbilly Elegy, where he talks about how through sheer hard work, and grit, he was able to make it to being this big Silicon Valley venture capitalist. But what he doesn't tell you is that he joined the world's biggest public employer in joining the military, then used the GI Bill, that's publicly funded money, to go to an Ivy League university, and now he wants to pretend like he's a regular guy.
That's what Bersani was just saying.
So he's either Harvard or Yale educated. I don't remember which one.
Okay, Bersani saying. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then he spent the rest of his life after this big boom from the town he was in, where it's not actually technically even Appalachia, by the way.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to hate on a guy for using the military to his advantage in order to get into a good school. I'm not going to hate on them that. But JD Vance's big thing is pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Yeah. But he doesn't realize some people literally don't have boots and need a little bit of help. Yeah.
That's where JD Vance's entire ideology falls apart. Yeah. Is because he's over here like, oh, I did it myself. Well, no, you didn't. Yeah. You did it with help from everybody else.
Yeah. See, that's the thing.
That's where we go into now he tries to act like, he's from Southern Ohio and like he's an Appalachian cosplayer.
Yeah.
He spent his whole friggin' life. He got out of Ohio as fast as he could, then spent his life out in Silicon Valley.
All right. I'm going to comment on this, Chris.
So real quick, though, I did see one comment.
Oh, God.
I actually did not call Republican voters batshit crazy. I called the candidates who've taken over their party batshit crazy.
Okay.
I want to clarify there. I have no problem with people that I have political difference with, or I wouldn't be talking to you guys. So I did not. I would never call a Republican voter batshit crazy. I'm calling their candidates that have taken over their party batshit crazy.
And here's what happens. And this right here. Okay. So he heard you say batshit crazy, and again, everybody turns all this, and it's like everybody starts fighting. Right now, hold on. Oh, it gets better. So, and I'm going to comment on this. Okay.
So you guys said we were going to have no views here. These.
We are. All right.
You look at that guy called the Antichrist.
Okay, now look. So, now hold on. And this is what I want.
Priest would really beg to differ.
Well, here's what I want to say.
Fred,
this kind of talk, it does nothing.
It's just as bad as the super woke left. Where you can't even say anything without offending somebody.
Why can't you? I mean, Democrats are the Antichrist. Really? I don't care how equal they try to. I mean, it's blah blah blah. What good are you doing?
Trying to take away his freedoms or his money?
Oh, they give away money to bums and make. I mean, do you understand? Reread that, Fred. I know you've commented before, but reread your comment. It doesn't make any sense. Why?
Like Chris said, some of the government programs that are out there to help people who need it, he used that to his advantage.
I would
growing up,
I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for the programs that I've watched. I've watched guys like that attack my entire life.
And like you said, the problem I have with the far right, from like the economic standpoint, is just like you said, in terms of pull yourself up by your bootstraps. There are seriously people out there that aren't educated enough or even have boots to pull up, or bootstraps on their boots to pull up. So it's like they're in such a bad spot that who are you to say that from such a high place?
But then again, there's the other side.
Yeah,
it's some of the people definitely
do take advantage of the system,
and it's not just not.
Okay, but on that same end, let's stop right there and let's talk for a second. Let's talk about all the people who took PPP money that created single member LLCs just to have it forgiven.
Well, I was going to just say that, and there's also it's not just
massive corporations that pay less taxes than your company does.
We see because we're loan officers. People come in for home loans, right? And they're like, "Hey, I want to get a home loan. I'm self-employed."
Right.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. And we get their tax returns
and showing they're making $2.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, how is that any different than?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're taking advantage.
You're taking of this. Everybody's taking advantage of the system where they can. And that's the problem.
And I want to address this guy too that said that we're trying to take his money. Unless he's making more than $400,000 a year, I've never heard a Republican or a Democrat since 2020 talk about raising his taxes.
400,000.
That's the point where you would have your taxes raised under the new the Inflation Reduction Act is $400K.
Yeah. So see, but again, and I appreciate all that, but it's like that kind of shit right there doesn't get you anywhere, and that's what I'm trying to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't get you anywhere.
Honestly, with the PPP money, I think that if I were a betting man all the people that use
they're gonna get
PPP
the
money.
shit
I
out of
think
those.
the
Yeah,
IRS,
the
they
auditors.
hired all those auditors.
Yeah.
I think they're coming for that PPP
Well, and
money.
that's another one that people don't understand. They have the funding to hire that many new IRS agents, right?
Yeah.
That's over a period of something like 10 years because there's something like 35,000 IRS agents that are set to retire over the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So like people are
Oh, so
acting
there's
like
not
they're acting like they're
It
going to wake up
wasn't
tomorrow and there's
new.
90,000 new IRS agents.
Yeah,
It was over the
that's
past 10 years, though.
It's over the next
Oh,
10
so you
years,
don't-
right?
I
It's
didn't know that.
phasing. It's
the
phasing folks
freaking
in.
media doesn't say that.
No, of course they don't.
No.
Of course they don't, because then you would have nothing to argue with people on the internet about.
And that's the problem too. You want to talk about one of our main problems in our country is the media. And CNN, Fox News, all of them. I think all of them cause 95% of these freaking problems.
Because they need to make money. They need people watching to make money now.
I think it's really important that we do have, a completely free investigative press. You know what I mean? They keep,
100%.
especially those of us in politics, they keep us honest.
Yeah.
But when you start to get news outlets that lean into it, like some of these fringe outlets, like the fringe outlets on the left, the fringe
Oh, we're
outlets on the
talking
right,
fringe. We're not
right,
talking
where
about
they
the
just completely,
Oh,
I understand why some people have a distaste for the media. But then I look at folks like Dave Skolnick locally is a great local reporter. And he gets a lot of crap from people because he doesn't write anybody's narrative.
Yeah.
So you kind of can't have it both ways.
Who's he
you know what I mean?
For?
So he was the politics reporter for the Vindy, and then when the Vindy went under, he moved to the Trib. So he whether you get the Vindicator or the Trib, he's writing your politics articles now.
And it both sides, left and right, on Facebook, whenever you see like a forwarded article and you see like some of these crazy freaking news things.
It's like what's Creed Bratton's website? creedthoughts.gov/website.
And then there's like the Atlantic, like there's all this crazy, but again, it's both sides. And it's like, God, it's just
Adam Mayo, pull up that comment. Go up.
Sorry.
If all the hate went away and people would try to better the country instead of party, and not say they would never vote for Republicans because they're Republicans, it might be better. I vote for who I think is better, who betters the country, not party affiliated. Term limits and get rid of the lobbyists.
See, but these have turned into the far right's favorite talking points too. I bet you if you look up his voting history, he hasn't voted and he hasn't voted anything but a Republican primary in a long time.
But that's bad. You're saying that's bad?
No, I'm not saying that's bad. But you have term limits. It's called the ballot box. If you don't like your elected officials, get out and vote them out.
That is impossible in certain scenarios.
In certain scenarios, sure, it's impossible. That in gerrymandered scenarios, sure.
Well, not even gerrymandered scenarios. The problem is you can't get everybody out of office because everybody's just voting Republican or Democrat because that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, that's what they're told to do, and they listen to the police or whoever.
This is a good time to talk about this. Eric Ungaro. Okay, I'm going to set this up, and we're going to discuss. Eric Ungaro is a Poland Township trustee, and we're talking about parties now because that's why we're coming on. He was a Democrat.
Is a Democrat.
Was a Democrat.
Well, in the Vindicator today, he said he's a lifelong Democrat who's running as an independent.
He's an independent. He registered as an independent. He got the required signatures he needed to be on the ballot.
Yep.
Submitted it.
Yeah.
Someone from the Mahoning County Democratic Committee, a member, challenged it. Okay. The Board of Elections.
Why did they challenge it?
Because they said he had Democratic logos on his Facebook page.
On his
website.
Okay.
And thank you. And donated money to a Democratic person.
Correct.
Okay. Good so far?
Yeah. So I want to preface it by saying, yeah, he got the valid signatures. There's nobody that's contesting that.
Okay.
But the thing that he's talking about is a precedent that was set in 2012. You have to make a good faith effort to disassociate with yourself from a party. And the guy had 3 pages on his website, one of which contained nearly 20 photos of him using the branding that matches the National Democratic Party. It doesn't matter how old they are, if they were from 2018 or not.
I can be a Democrat.
I campaigned with photos from 2018. That doesn't matter.
Can I switch? Can I be a Democrat if I want to switch?
Sure.
Why can't he switch?
Outside looking in, right? Outside looking in, I would want someone who is in. Why are they not allowed to switch? If he's from 18, why is he?
So
not
they
allowed
are
to
allowed to switch. They are allowed. People are allowed to switch. You're allowed to leave your party. He didn't. That's what we're saying. Is he did not make a good faith effort to actually disassociate. The matter of the fact is that he didn't want to run in a primary.
Yeah.
So he tried to take this independent route.
Yeah.
And he's still trying to let people know, hey, I'm a Democrat. That's
Yeah.
why like you can make the argument all you want that those photos are old, cool, but they're on his newly updated website that he's responsible for the content of.
Here's my next question: why don't you guys want him to run?
What's that?
Why don't you guys want him to run?
Who said I didn't want him to run?
Well, why does the Democratic Party not want him to run?
We want him to actually be an independent. If he's going to leave the Democratic Party, he needs to leave the Democratic Party, not have 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
So is there any chance of him being able to run now after all
Well, it's
this
going to
went
go to
down?
the Supreme
he can
Court,
he can sue to the Supreme Court if he wants.
which he's going to.
So
Well, here's the other problem I have with this whole thing. So I'm looking at it and I watch, they stream these things.
Yeah.
I streamed the board, the voting board meeting. Who is in charge of it?
I have no idea.
Come on.
I listen, here's one thing that I take incredibly seriously, right?
Dave Beatrice is in charge.
Okay, he's appointed by a Republican Secretary of State.
is he a Democrat or a Republican?
He was in his position
Yeah,
before he ran.
He was one of my predecessors.
He was a predecessor.
So real quick, I want to address the photos of his dad. It's actually it's not a photo of his dad. It's nearly 20 photos on his website. It's not one photo like he made it sound in that press release. That photo wasn't even examined. It's 15 photos out of maybe 20 when there's only 3 pages on his website.
Okay. So was there any with the logo, like just the logo itself? Or?
Yeah, there's all kinds of
Oh, sorry. Don't call him a douchebag. That's not very nice.
I would want, if I was an independent, or I think the best thing for the country as someone who's pretty middle of the road is honestly someone who was on the Democrat side, right? Or on Team Democrat, on Team Republican, and then they decide, you know what? This is too much. I'm being told how I have to think and how I want to go be independent. I honestly think the best thing that could possibly happen for the United States is an independent winning.
And honest to God, if you want to run as
rethink everything.
If you want to run as an independent, great, but run as an independent.
The problem is here. Okay.
Once you get on a team,
can I go deep? I'm gonna go deeper. There's no Republican candidate in this election for the 50.
There is a Republican candidate in this election.
there was.
It's Greg Bate. He also filed as an independent the same way Eric did.
So, but is he
is he
independent?
getting in trouble by the?
He has a
from the
hearing on
Republicans?
Monday. If you read, did you just not read the article I sent you?
I read the article. I
Skimmed it.
Footnotes.
There's a hearing on his on Monday.
I skimmed it. So there's a hearing on his on Monday.
And-
Eric, but why, Isaac? Oh, hold on, Chris. Why wouldn't the Democratic Party want Eric to run?
Because they don't want to take votes from him. Because if there's a Republican running now, like you said. I don't know.
See, and this is
You would pull votes from the Democrats and the Republicans. So it's like almost.
Well, I think
they'd
if
be
he gets
afraid
on the
of him
ballot, he's
stealing
no,
votes.
I wish you guys the best. If he gets on the ballot, he's going to win, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Because he was a Democrat.
Yeah.
Is a Democrat. However you want to say it.
I was going to say that a bipartisan coalition on the Board of Elections said he still is a Democrat. So, let's be clear. It's not Democrats who threw him off the ballot. There were 2 Democrats and a Republican who threw him off the ballot. There's only 4 people.
There was
3 out of 4 people said, no, you're wrong here, man.
If you watch that meeting, it was a 2-2 vote.
Right.
Beatrice started running his mouth.
Okay.
And talked the other people because he gets all lawyery and all huffy puffy. You got to watch it. I was going to film it. I was like, I didn't want to.
But so even
And he convinced for a revote, and they revoted, and the lady sitting next to Beatrice.
No, you're wrong here. We're going to back this up.
No.
By law, they have to vote 3 times if they tie. By law, before they can send it to the Secretary of State to make a decision, they have to vote 3 times.
And they did. And Beatrice was running his mouth and basically bullied the little old lady sitting next to him to vote no or to vote yes.
Listen, I've known Joyce Kilpesta for a long time. You don't bully her into anything.
If you watch that thing, it is a bull. I wish I would have freaking filmed it. He was.
I don't even understand how it works. Why do they vote 3 times on something?
Because the Secretary of State doesn't want boards of elections to just tie. They want these issues to be decided at the local level because otherwise the Secretary of State would have to make the decision for thousands of.
So what? You vote once, argue about it, vote another time, argue about it, vote again, argue about
and
it.
If you tie a 3rd time, you can send it to the Secretary of State.
There wasn't any arguing. It was Beatrice freaking running his mouth, and then again, the whole thing was freaking shady. From an outsider looking in,
Yeah.
I skimmed through the notes. I just watched this meeting.
politics.
Again, nothing personal, but I'm just saying that. So, all right. Let's see, dude. All right, let's see here.
What about
Well, according to the guy, Fred, our buddy Fred here, who asked who I am. According to you, I'm the Antichrist. So
it's so hot in here.
right, yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised my parish hasn't burned down.
Chris, how do you feel about
Tony. Hi, Tony.
how do you feel about higher ups within government, like investing like in the stock market and taking advantage?
It's gotta go.
I agree.
It's gotta go.
It's a problem, right?
100%. It's
100%.
insider.
What do you think of lobbyists?
What's that?
Lobbyists.
I mean, there's lobbyists that lobby for good causes all the time too. We think of lobbyists and we think of like the Koch brothers and shit like that. But there are lobbyists all the time who lobby for things like children's hospitals or for healthcare workers or retail workers. There's
How far do you go though? So like my question is like, so the right, like you said, the right loves to complain about Nancy Pelosi, but if you look like the top 10 Congress people who make money off of the stock market, like there are like 3 or 4 Republicans.
There's all of them. Do,
but all of them.
Yeah.
But like, how far do you go? Do you stop like all family members from investing? Like,
I mean, that's a decision. I'm not going to pretend I'm a lawmaker, man.
But what do you think? Do you think?
I mean, if it were up to me, it would be anybody who could directly benefit from it.
Yeah,
The same way that you do with insider trading.
Yeah,
That's
You know
kind of
what
what
I
it is. Yeah.
And again, I'm not a lawyer, but the last I knew is insider trading is considered anybody that gets the tip. So I would say that it would be, anybody that, it would be the member of Congress themselves or the member in a public position themselves, or you treat it the same way the SEC does. If that person runs and tells, John Doe that they run into at Dunkin' Donuts and John Doe uses that information, then John Doe is guilty of insider trading too.
Yeah.
So, but no, I'm 100% with you there that members of Congress shouldn't be able to own and trade stock. It's not that hard to put
options, stock, anything,
right?
Anything that they can.
And we have to remember too. These are people too. They have every right to invest, but they should invest through a blind trust.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree. That's good. See?
Yeah.
See? From a local point of view, from a county thing. So,
I was gonna say that's way out of the wheelhouse.
Yeah, we're gonna. Well,
sorry. Yeah.
No, well, dude, it's good. I mean, this is a good
I'm
conversation.
just asking,
Man. We're a good conversation. Pull this back in. Well, from a county point of view, so you're in charge of the entire county, right?
County Democratic Party. Sure.
And so when somebody runs the county, your party or your committee, right? Where was Democratic Party? I guess are going to help with the feelers, with the signs. How do you guys? How does the parties? How does your committee?
Yeah. So most political parties put together what's called a coordinated campaign.
Yeah.
Where you get together everybody that's on the ballot and you say, hey, here's what the party is going to supply for you. Here's how we can help. And then you just.
They have to pay you for that.
No, every county party runs it not the wrong way. Jesus, every county. Sorry, it's a little late, and I've been up since 4:30. Every county party runs it differently. There are some county parties that ask their candidates to chip in.
Yeah.
And which is totally there's nothing unethical. There's nothing illegal about that because just you look at it from economies of scale, right? If you chip in $2,000, you chip in $2,000, I chip in $2,000. Now the party has $6,000 and they can buy $6,000 worth of media.
Because if some of those candidates try to do that themselves, it's going to be
right.
It's going to be impossible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But then there are other county parties that, maybe their chairs aren't really strong fundraisers or, maybe you have to remember there's 88 Democratic county parties in Ohio. And some of them are in places like Carroll County that Donald Trump won by 75% of the vote.
Right.
How much money do you think they're going to be able to raise? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's completely different. But it's completely. But no, I'm an MBA in the private sector. I don't make any money off of this. If that's what you're.
No. I wasn't saying you meant. No, I wasn't. I was just. I was more curious about like the funding with. You know what I mean? Like, Let's say I switch to be a Democrat and I want to run.
Yeah.
I come up to you guys and be like, hey.
Yeah, and it's not uncommon for candidates to chip in for specific things, right? Like one of our candidates helped fund some upgrades at the headquarters, like faster internet stuff like that.
Cool.
It's not uncommon for that.
Yeah. Well, it's like team. It's a team, right?
Right.
Kind of thing. So that's the way you gotta look at it. And then,
if the average person wanted to switch, how would they register?
So that's a good question. In Ohio, you affiliate with a party. So for whatever reason, they don't call it registering. They call it affiliating.
Yeah.
But you affiliate with a party during a primary.
I honestly, God, don't even know who I'm affiliated with.
If you
voted, right?
So when you voted in May and they asked you what ballot you
You
wanted,
didn't vote in May, did you?
No, I did.
Okay.
yeah. So and when you voted in May and they asked you whether you wanted the Democrat or the Republican ballot, that's who you're affiliated with. Or well, I guess thanks to the Columbus Republicans actually in August as well.
I don't know.
Here,
Wait,
find out.
They didn't ask.
Yeah, you can Google
They
us,
just
right?
gave me a ballot when that was when we were voting.
Then
for
that
the
means you're probably
councilman,
already
right?
you're already affiliated then.
No. Every time they ask
Can I
you,
can I
really?
can I be an independent?
Yeah, can you be an independent?
is your
gonna
middle,
say I
is your
wanna
middle
be-
initial J?
Yes,
I'm going to switch to independent.
that's what I want to be.
Homie, you haven't voted since 2021.
Voted in May. That was when we did the councilman, right? In the school.
So okay, so all right, so
No,
here,
that was last year, 2021.
Oh yeah, that was last time. Yeah. Yeah, that was last
so
time.
again, you get to go back here. You get all the change that you work for and you vote for. So
Yeah,
you got to get the step one there.
Wasn't anything really good on the ballot
What, the last time?
in May.
May. Hey, what was on there? What did I miss?
I don't know what you guys had in Poland. I'll be honest, I wasn't the chair then.
Oh,
I missed the last
I've
time I voted was
voted.
the school board thing and the councilman thing.
Yeah, there wasn't much.
So was I Republican or Democrat?
You're unaffiliated. You didn't. It says you haven't voted in a primary ever.
I did vote in the primary too.
Right there.
Dude, I voted.
You're one of those.
I didn't vote.
You're one of those general. You're one of those general election guys.
So if I voted, I'd have
So
to
there's two
register in
elections
order
that
to.
happen every
Can
year.
you look at mine? Look
In
at mine.
order to
I have
vote in
to
the
be
primary,
Republican.
I would have to be registered. I would have to go in and.
No, so there are certain situations where if you really don't want to affiliate with a party, you can go in and ask for an issues only ballot, where they would only give you let's say that there's a tax levy, or something else that has to be on the ballot, like somebody's trying to get a liquor license, for example.
Yeah.
You can go in and if there's issues on your ballot, they can give you an issues only ballot.
Okay.
But yeah, it doesn't look like you've ever voted in the primary.
I suck.
I don't want to pick a side, bro. I don't want to pick a side.
Wait.
Well, I think that too. This is partially where it gets confusing for folks because a lot of folks don't know that they don't know that in Ohio that's how you affiliate. But then there are some folks that I talk to that they think that the only elections that happen are in November.
Yeah.
Which isn't obviously isn't the case. There's basically two. There's basically two elections every year.
When was the?
You're also an independent, by the way.
I am.
Yeah. Is your middle initial F?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm an independent.
Hell yeah.
I don't even know. I thought
Even
I was
though you're way more conservative than I am.
Well, I'm fiscally conservative.
Yeah, I'm pretty fiscally conservative to an extent.
I like-
Until we get to the point where it's like we're talking about
Guns. I think I love guns. I own guns, but I still think you should have background checks for freaking guns. I mean, I have to get a. Everybody has to take a test to do drive a car.
Yeah.
In background, you know what I mean?
Well, and again, that's where like they just passed constitutional carry now. So any Tom, Dick, and Harry that's walking around out there can conceal a handgun now.
Yeah, see that
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think that stuff's a bit extreme.
Yeah, I think for sure that the way you're not going to take away everybody's guns. I think that's a waste of time.
Do background checks.
But I think you should honestly have classes and it be harder and harder to get licensing.
We were saying
different
like
guns.
driving a. We've compared this before. Driving a car, you got to take a test. Get a gun, you got to take a test. Want to drive a semi truck?
Yeah,
You got to take
exactly.
more tests.
and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The Constitution does give you a right to own a firearm.
Yeah.
There's no one that would deny that.
Yeah.
The Constitution does give you a right to own a firearm, but there's also the right within there for that to be a regulated right.
Yeah. Did you ever see? You ever watch Family Guy? You've never watched Family Guy?
I mean, I've seen bits and
The
pieces.
Family Guy where
He's like right to bear arms.
you have
That's
the
where
right. They have a
you-
picture of the founding fathers.
Yeah,
and
they're like, it's the right to hang a pair of bear arms on your wall. This
Yeah.
isn't confusing
it's
at
like
all.
I don't understand how this
Nobody will ever
misunderstand.
confuse this. Nobody will ever get confused.
And and so like I've always loved being an outdoorsman. I own
Yeah.
multiple firearms.
Yeah.
I just don't where I think we can all agree is I think that we can all agree on background checks. I think that we can
Yeah.
I think that we can all agree that if you're going to conceal a handgun in public, you should probably have some kind of training. I think that if school boards are gonna start requiring teachers to handle firearms, they need to fucking pay them more than they're paying them.
Yeah.
And B, they need to have more than 24 hours worth of training.
Yeah.
Like those are all common sense. But if the minute that a Democrat comes out and says, hey, maybe teachers shouldn't have guns in their classrooms if they're not trained on how to use them, it comes, oh, look at this fucking gun grabber again.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think that's the case though. I think
I mean, to be fair, I've made that literal argument and called a gun grabber. So.
yeah, no,
But
I get it.
again, it depends on who's calling you that.
Yeah,
I
I think there's if that is the case and they want to arm teachers, there has to be extreme training. But I don't think that's what you do. I think you put a much higher level professional that has way more training than just your classic school cop. I think you should have like a guy who's in there that's like constantly training on it.
And let's be clear though here too. Like school resource officers are some of the they're some of the most dedicated professionals that I know. Like I think of like the school resource officer in Boardman. Like I think that he views every one of those kids as his own kid.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
I think you should give them more. I think they should have more training. I think they should have bigger guns. I think honestly, to protect those kids, I'd give them anything they.
It makes a lot more sense to put trained professionals in there than
a teacher.
Than to ask a history teacher to And then it also let's talk too about how that confuses law enforcement, because law enforcement has always been trained. Listen, if somebody in this school has a gun, the person gets neutralized. Now who's the good guy? How do you expect law enforcement to know that?
Teachers, I don't think should have guns.
But again, like you talked about Mike. Ask Mike Ruley how he expects people to know that. He voted for it.
Yeah.
Ask Al Catrona. He was a sponsor on it.
Yeah, I don't. There would have to be an extreme amount of training for a teacher to have a gun.
Like,
could you imagine Maggie? Yeah,
Maggie
she would never do it.
His wife's teacher. I couldn't see her wielding a weapon.
She would never do it. She'd never do it.
I couldn't see that.
There's no way. And again, it's gonna be certain.
It's going to take a certain type of individual. That's why I said you just put a guy in there that's
let's keep covering topics. This is fun. Let's keep covering
drugs.
Drugs. What do you think of drugs?
If we light up a joint right now, are you hitting it?
Well, so all right. I'm going to preface this by saying I've never right hand to God smoked pot in my life.
Yeah, me neither.
But I am 100% in favor of legalizing it, because think about the economic benefit involved in legalizing pot.
I agree.
Right?
Yep.
Think about the economic, but we also have to recognize if we're going to legalize pot, there's a lot of people who've had their entire lives ruined for having it that deserve a fresh start.
Oh yeah.
Like I think about my generation, right? Like I can't count the number of kids that I've seen get popped for having a little bag of pot, and then your whole life gets ruined because you can't get financial aid to go to school anymore.
Yeah.
You can't get government assistance.
Can't get free job.
Right. And now you've got a drug charge all because you had a little bit of pot. When we talk about legalizing pot, I'm 100% for it.
Yeah.
I'm 100% for it because of the economic benefit, especially when you start talking about how it can benefit farmers in Mahoning County.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially with some of these local small family farms, that it gives them a whole new crop to grow.
Yeah.
But if we're going to legalize it, those folks who've had and I'm not talking about people who are dealing it. I'm not talking about anything like, I'm talking about, John Doe who happened to have a joint in his pocket and was walking by a cop with a drug dog and we have to recognize too, cops don't pursue it the way that they did back in the day.
No.
Right. No. We can all agree on that.
Yeah. Devil's advocate. What?
Oh, before you start that though, I'll go one further. I say you take anybody who has any kind of drug charge whatsoever that didn't hurt anybody, that didn't hurt anyone but themselves, out of jail. We want to talk about wasting money. All these people that are on drug charges that didn't do anything to they were like just for themselves. That like
take them out and drop their charges.
Yeah. Just
do you get worried about it being like a gateway drug? Because you hear that all the time.
No, if somebody can show me some scientific research that actually supports that, I'd revisit my opinion.
Yeah.
But no, that's what a lot of folks have called it for a long time. And again, I've never smoked pot in my life.
I haven't either.
I might have.
I've never smoked.
I might have. And then I started doing coke.
No, I think
I've never.
I think we should. I think we should.
For the record,
we should legalize more. I think magic mushrooms. I think you should.
But I mean,
like, dead serious. I am dead ass serious.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I would have to do some research before I could talk about anything like that. I don't even know what the hell a magic mushroom is.
I think you just
but what I
up.
do know is that there's a lot of medicinal benefits to folks who use pot for pain management, for example. It treats a lot of other conditions like glaucoma.
Dude, in Ohio, Delta 8. Have you heard of that? The gummies. It's like a legalized.
That's THC though. That's very.
I don't know.
That's not a lot of.
No,
THC.
makes me sleepy.
Yeah, it's just CBD with a tiny bit of THC.
Yeah, I'm not high or anything. It just makes me sleepy.
You'd piss hot on a drug test.
Would it really?
I think so.
Oh my god!
I think so.
Well, and that's what we have to figure out is
badass.
Like so legalized pot is going to be on the ballot in 2023. I don't know if you guys know that.
Woo! Let's go!
The second that happens, we're getting obliterated. We're getting
Well, just
sued.
because it gets legalized, you could still like companies can still test.
Well, that's
right?
what folks are going to need to figure out is how when, for example, you get pulled over. If a cop wanted to test you, you could figure, you know what I mean? Like if a cop wanted to test you, they could figure out how long ago you'd smoked. Or if you, let's say you get
figure that out.
Well, that's what there's going to have to be an advanced test. I don't, you know, I know that the technology's out there because think about the we're not going to be the first state in the country that's legalized pot recreation.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Luke, in 1998, you got high. You're not hired. Like,
Well, booze stays in your system for 48 hours, right? I think so. It stays in your system 48 hours.
Delta 8 is. I'm
Weed
hardcore.
stays in it
yo.
much longer. But
Stay away from the booger sugar.
Okay.
That's amazing. That's
Cocaine.
That's what I
Oh,
said.
okay. Yeah.
See, we didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, I would not.
Booger
I would,
sugar.
Yeah,
Started
definitely stay away from coke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stay away from booger sugar. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Other topics.
Oh, you want to go to abortion? We
Oh.
go to abortion.
That's a touchy one.
So the problem with that
Oh boy.
is, so I am like, I don't like messing with people. I don't like telling people what they can and can't do. And if you make it completely illegal, it's only going to create people finding other ways to get it. It's the same thing with like guns.
So you think they're going to figure out a way to get an abortion?
In a bad, like
Coat
Think
hangers
about-
and stuff
think
like
about-
that?
it would be in a, not in a, if they can go
Medical
get one,
area.
it would be in a bad situation.
Well, think
where
about
it might be
the pre-Roe
very
era.
unhealthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Think about the
Yeah.
pre-Roe era. Or, you know, there's a lot of unintended consequences that come out of the Dobbs decision, for example. Like in Ohio, we had you know, the day that the Dobbs decision came down, the secretary, or not the secretary of state, I'm sorry, the attorney general said the heartbeat bill is now the law of the land. And we saw the consequences firsthand. Doctors can't treat ectopic pregnancies. A doctor couldn't even terminate a pregnancy of a 10-year-old girl who was raped. She had to travel to the uber liberal state of fucking Indiana to have. How's that fair to a 10-year-old who was raped? That
Yeah,
folks
that's
who are in
messed
favor
up.
of this in Ohio want her to have to carry that child to term.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or, you know, like I think about, you know, like so my
And you can go across the state and get it done then, right? Is that
It's only gonna
until
cause
states-
people to go somewhere else.
But until states start to try, you know, like states like Texas, for example, are already saying if you go to another state to get it, you're breaking the
And
law.
then if you go nationally, right? You go across the board, no abortions. People are still going to get them. So what are they? They're going to go to
But-
Mexico.
So
right.
so
You know
here's
what I mean?
here's
It's
a
like-
here's a personal story for this with you guys, right? So my wife and I, you know, we have 2 kids. But in, you know, earlier this year, my wife had a miscarriage, right? So so keep in mind, and the reason that I bring that up is, you know, is keep in mind that on the heels of my wife having a miscarriage, she got pregnant with our son, right? So, you know, I forget, maybe 4 or 5 months went by, we decided to try again. So she gets pregnant with our son. And our son, when we go to do the routine genetic screening at 10 weeks, comes back at a high risk for trisomy 13. And before I go into this, I'm gonna preface this by saying my son's totally fine. He didn't have it, you know, thank God, nothing was wrong.
Yep.
But he came back at a high risk for trisomy 13, right? So at 10 weeks, we found that out. We had to wait until 15 weeks to do an amniocentesis. The results of that amniocentesis didn't come back until 24 weeks, right? So she's already past the point in Ohio where, if God
took
forbid,
that long?
correct?
Wow.
Because but nonetheless,
What would that
so-
mean? What would
so
that disease
if
or
he
whatever
would
it
have
was?
had trisomy 13, if he were born alive at all, he would have lived in absolute excruciating agony for an entire year, right? Nobody with trisomy 13, the average lifespan is about a year.
Wow.
So you mean to tell me that it's fair that my wife, coming off the heels of a miscarriage,
Yeah.
would have had to potentially carry a totally non-viable child to term? That's the
brutal.
future that folks. That's
See, and-
the future people don't envision
and
There's
that-
always
when they start talking
there's
about
always
this shit.
situations. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's always, and it's not like I'm saying I want you to
Kill
like,
babies.
kill babies. I'm saying that people like have a choice. Like, I don't want to tell people what to do.
Yeah.
I might not think it's right. I would never have that.
I
would
guess
never do that, but-
again,
or I would never want my wife.
devil's
to do that.
advocate.
Yeah.
Devil's advocate.
Yeah.
My concern would be, okay, again, I know I'm piss off a bunch of people.
Yeah.
It's like you have, and the heartbeat thing is a big thing. But again, let's just use your example. You have people wanting to get abortions.
Yeah.
At 30 weeks.
Find me
30.
somebody who wants an abortion at 30 weeks, and I'll
And the
make a
other thing-
donation
no,
to
no,
Mike Rulli for
the
you.
point is, Luke,
How's that
I
sound?
get the point you're trying to make. Extremes in any situation. Any
That's what
situation
I'm
are
saying.
bad. Extremes in any
Extremes.
situation.
Extremes.
Extremes in abortions
Can
are
you
bad.
say it's never happened?
No, I can't say it's never happened.
So I
there's,
mean,
there's people who have like 7 or 8 abortions just to have 7 or 8 abortions and said they did.
Does
that's
that happen?
horrible. That's not good.
I mean,
Obviously not.
I don't know anyone that's ever done it. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that is the other side of it that people
Yeah.
are saying.
Sure, and that's where we have to I don't think that it's our place as three dudes to be sitting here telling a woman what she can do with her own body.
Yeah, no, you're 100%.
And I
right.
definitely don't think that it's fair that a bunch of old guys in
100%.
Columbus are telling women what to do with their body.
100%
I agree.
correct.
So
Yeah.
let's start that conversation there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
so
we're lucky
you
enough
like
to never have to be in that situation.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I'm sure that there are stories of that out there, but I've yet to meet one person that's pro-choice. It's been like, yeah, I want you to be able to get an abortion at 39 freaking weeks,
So
like some of these Republicans
it's more
make it
of the,
sound.
it's more of the extreme, like you said. Like your example is a great example that you use with the testing. You know what I mean? That's a great example. And again,
But thanks to the heartbeat bill that so many people like Mike Rulli and Al Catrona have been so excited about, my wife would have had to have carried that child to term.
Stephanie hopped in the chat and says, I missed you, Stephanie, but you do know women do not get pregnant on their own. I know that, Stephanie. Thank you. And Melanie Timlin says no one is pro-abortion. There are absolute legitimate reasons for abortion.
okay. See, this
Yeah.
is good. I knew that we were gonna piss these. Yeah. Wait. Oh, is that how I had 3 kids?
Stephanie, I'm trying to get my wife pregnant because she wants kids real bad. Will you call me and explain to me how that works? Because I don't think I'm doing something right. Stephanie, if you could call me, maybe get some pictures. I know you're a teacher. I know you love to teach. Show me how that works.
Isaac needs schematics, please. You have 2 kids.
Yeah.
After the show, he's going to tell you how to do it. I have 3. We'll coach you.
I mean, you guys let me say the F word, but I don't necessarily
No.
know
Either
if-
one I have.
Stephanie, that is a really good point too. The number of times a man can impregnate a woman in a month is significantly larger than a woman. Absolutely, yeah. A guy can go around and impregnate any girl he runs into contact with that it is, can have a child, but
Right.
Girls
That
can only
man
have one
is-
baby.
That man is uglier than me.
But I mean, she raises a really valid point. So let's not.
Or he's a raper.
But so
He's a
here's the thing. Let's put the shoes on the other foot, right? Let's put the shoes on the other foot and let's pretend that the Ohio General Assembly was dominated by women. How would you feel if they mandated vasectomies? It's the same thing as telling you what you can do with your
God, I
body.
would've been so happy.
I would be cool if
Well, I mean, actually, I have an appointment to get a vasectomy, so now I'd be okay with it.
That's-
But
that's-
no,
it.
like
Hey.
like they neuter everybody till
But
they're
no, no, no.
22.
So let's-
I'd be down for it.
but
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why should it be my choice or your choice or Mike Rulli's choice or
Absolutely.
Al Catrona's choice? It's again, like everybody loves the favorite talking point of the right is freedom. Okay, well, you're taking away a freedom that women have known for 50 fucking years.
I think it's interesting.
How's that okay?
I think it's interesting that like that same argument though can be applied to guns.
You can apply to anything.
I know. It really can.
But at the same time, okay, so then apply it to everything. Why is it okay to take away that freedom? We already agreed that we can legislate, we can regulate those freedoms. We all agreed that there's common sense gun control. We've all agreed that at some point you shouldn't be able to get an abortion. You know what I mean? Like
I just where's my point? I just think that you can apply that. I think you can apply that if you shouldn't tell somebody what they can and can't do, but anytime
and
I don't know.
right here is where the far right logic falls apart. by
Yeah.
the way.
no, hold on.
Where'd you?
No. I need
No,
to
no,
piss
there's
him
no
off.
phone a friend.
No,
here.
I'm not. I made a post.
Photo.
I made a post on the MLO Bros a while ago. With my point. Hold on. I need to get my
Yeah, you lost.
I did. But anytime you're not
Are
willing,
you sure you guys are mortgage brokers? It's
Yeah.
a deep conversation.
No, it's okay.
Dude, we have really good talks.
Anytime you're not willing to like budge at all, that's my point. Like you can say that I don't want to tell women that they should they can or can't have an abortion. And then on the same hand, it's okay to tell people that you can't we shouldn't be taking guns away from people. It's like you're so gung ho about
One
thing,
thing, but
and then you can't see that the same argument on the other side. It's not a Democrat or Republican thing. It's just like
I guess I would counter that by saying, though, when did I say I wanted to take anybody's guns away? I just said that I wanted you to have a background check to
I
own it.
know, but like Democrats are so, and Republicans too. Republicans
it's not
are
just
so
it's all of them.
Republicans are so like no,
Oh,
this
gotcha.
is-
So you're speaking generally. You're not.
yeah,
I thought you were.
This
Okay.
is so it's
No.
so
It's very hypocritical. Would be the
yeah,
word.
yeah. When it comes to thinking about it, it's like no, we were not doing that, and there's no negotiation being brought to the table. Abortions are bad. There's no negotiation at all. Any form of it, no. Okay, but then on the other side, it's okay. Guns are bad. There's no negotiating
You
about
can't
it
have
at all. There's
AR,
no
AR-15.
Yeah, this is God wanted us to have guns, and that's how it's going to be. And then they argue that point, but then it's literally for the Democrats. And on the other side, they argue exactly the opposite. There's no budging. There's no negotiation, and it's just extremely hypocritical on both sides. And it's like you gave us examples. You gave us perfect example of when it's cool to get an abortion. But then if we were to try and apply that to guns and say, like, I just feel like there are so many Democrats that are like, no, guns need to go away. It just needs, we're taking your guns. It's just gone.
Well, it's not just Democrat. It like you said, it's both.
Yeah,
you know,
but it goes
drugs.
back. I guess it goes back
you do
to
drugs.
I guess it goes back to extremes where you just like the extremes of both parties are going to argue those sides to extremes,
and nothing's ever going to
and nothing's ever going to work for them. But I just really think there should be more.
Yeah,
give
because like
on-
with the
on
Roe
both
with the Ohio and the heartbeat bill thing, when the Democrat because it's a Republican controlled,
Yeah, so it's a Republican. It's not even just Republican controlled. It's a super majority,
right? So
which means the governor doesn't really even get a say because if he vetoes something, they can just override it.
So what would probably happen is when the Democrats get back in party, they can just override it again, right? Like they can change it back. Correct.
See,
So
say that again?
the law that passed with the abortion.
Yeah.
What was it? It
The
was
heartbeat bill.
the heartbeat bill that passed. When the Democrats, it's law now, correct?
according to Dave Yost, it is. Sure.
Okay. So when the Democrats take over again, they'll be able to flip it back and say, okay, never mind.
So in theory, but now here's where we have to get into the topic of like gerrymandering, for example, is Republicans are in power now in the state house.
Yeah.
And they've cut districts for themselves so that they only ever have to appeal to the fringes of their party. They don't ever have to appeal to folks who want moderation, because what they've done is instead of voters getting to pick their politicians, your politicians have picked you as voters now.
Because of the cut, that was the new.
Because of the way that they've cut those lines.
I remember you posting about that. You were pissed about that.
And if you remember, well, the reason that I was pissed about it is because we took this to the ballot box. Ohio voters overwhelmingly said, we want this shit to end. And what did the Ohio Republican Party do? They gerrymandered our maps. The Supreme Court struck them down. They gerrymandered them again. The Supreme Court struck them down. They gerrymandered them again. The Supreme Court struck them down. They struck them down 5 times until they found a panel of 2 Republican-appointed federal judges that said this has to stop.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So again, it's anything to win, man. Isaac, it's always anything.
Oh,
to
absolutely,
win.
absolutely.
Gerrymander again, and it's not.
So when you see, so you can understand when you see folks like Al Catrona, for example, who ran as a pretty moderate guy, he signed on to every freaking piece of fringe legislation that I've seen come out of Columbus. He signed on to Gene Schmidt's. He signed on to a bill that Gene Schmidt sponsored at one point, and if he that would have made it so that you can't do IVF, for example.
Right.
Like Gene Schmidt and Al Catrona are best friends. Look up some of the ridiculous crap, and I say that facetiously. I don't actually know if they're best friends, but he does sure co-sponsor a lot of his stuff because the only thing he's going to have to worry about is keep worrying about is a primary from somebody more fringe than him.
Al Catrona wanted to come on the podcast.
He would or he wouldn't.
He wanted to. We kind of ignored him.
I think we scheduled him, and then we cool thing was he's super busy too, so we kind of forgot about it. So that was good. That was nice.
Okay,
But I mean,
sorry,
that's
validating
that's
pro boards,
that's just an
pro-choice.
example. So like we've got a phenomenal candidate that's running against Al Catrona, right?
Yeah.
But he's got to work 4 times as hard because Catrona's got an advantage because his party drew the map
Mhm.
to make it so that the only people he's ever got to appeal to are people who think that abortion should be banned at 2 hours,
Mhm.
or people who think that the minute you talk about common sense gun legislation, you're trying to take their guns away. So that's a part of a much bigger conversation about gerrymandering. But
I really wish I could find that post.
This has been. See, you didn't know what you were getting into. You thought we were going to talk about. He didn't know we were going to be deep.
and we'll talk about like
You want to talk about?
No, I love talking.
Dude,
about
see, this is a
stuff.
good conversation. This is why I
Absolutely.
want to have him on because I knew
Yeah.
Chris was going to get. You know what I mean? This is good. This is very good. I want to have the Republican. I want to have Tom McCabe on here yet, but he won't come on.
Choice, but you can't turn away from negative impact it has on community. 1/3 of abortions, 1/3 of abortions are done by Black females. But they only make up 13% of the population. I.e., Black females are aborting babies.
click on that link because I'm pretty sure
Higher
that's
rate
right wing
of
source.
whites.
Kaiser Family Fund.
I can't click on it.
3 times the
okay.
rate of whites. How is that not having a negative impact on the Black community? Wait. So is he arguing for or against? He's saying
I think he's saying he's pro-choice.
No, I think he's.
so. Then
saying
by
he's
forcing,
saying he's pro-life because it's having a negative impact on communities like the Black community.
or is he saying if you stop abortions, then there would be more
But all right, so here's what I'm going to say: is the communities that are going to be hurt
impoverished
most,
people.
the communities that are going to be hurt most by stuff that's going to come out of this Dobbs decision are going to be communities like lower income communities, or like lower income communities, or
I think that's what
cities-
he's saying though, because
Well,
it would.
no, what he's trying to say here is he's basically saying that they're having that pro-life policy or pro-choice policies are having a negative impact on communities, but he's not saying it for the reasons. He's not looking at it from the other side of, let's say that you are someone who's a member of a low income community, for example. Like I can't validate these statistics about the African American community, but I've heard the same argument about low income women, for example, right? Okay, so let's use that argument about low income women and let's talk for a second about how now a low income woman, if she does have a reason to, if she has a reason to get an abortion, which again is none of my business. I don't care if she has a reason to get an abortion or not. But let's say that let's say that it's my wife. Let's put my wife into a low income situation, right?
Okay.
How much is it going to cost her to travel to have an abortion now? Do you think she'd be able to afford it?
Probably
So if
not,
you're going
right.
to look at one side and try and make bullshit arguments like that, you've got to look at the other side. And by the way, the Kaiser Family Foundation is probably not the best source to use if you're trying to be credible.
No. Oh, I love it.
And that's honestly something too that people who aren't in the know, I guess it's uneducated, will share stuff and they don't like. They're just like, oh, I heard this, I'm sharing it. I do, like, you know what I mean?
I think
Well,
people.
And even I'm guilty of
confirmation
it.
bias.
You know? Yeah, it's just
That's
like
that's it, right? Confirmation bias. A lot of people only read and post and share what they want to hear and what they think and what they believe.
And they don't stop and
Yeah.
you know, and I'm not saying that this is just on the right.
No,
Like,
it's everybody. All everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
okay, but
you feel a certain way and you look for any source, no matter how
100%.
unvalid it is, that shares that opinion with
But
you.
I do think that playing devil's advocate, I think that the teams, the Democrats and the Republicans, they want that to an extent because you have people that, oh, you're on our team, you're cool, you just see our idea and you're gonna vote Republican or you're gonna vote Democrat no matter what. They almost want those people to just, you know, come, we'll take you in under our
100%,
wing
yeah.
and just don't even think about it. Just vote red, just vote blue. We're just gonna all work together. We're the good guys. Those are the bad guys. Everybody come on over here. We're all going to vote. You know, all those people are, you know, like you said, you're the Antichrist, you're whatever. I hate that about politics. But
It is a problem. But
You
it
know?
is good. But it is good. And again, conversations like this have to take place.
And, you know, I'd be remiss too if we didn't talk about the fact that like all the stuff that we talked about is big overarching stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
it all happens at the federal level.
yeah.
But there are incredibly important local elections too that make a very, very big impact on your
Talk.
life.
Sarah.
So you know, like I think about our county commissioner's race, for example, right?
Mhm.
So we have an incredibly qualified woman running for re-election, Carol Remedio Rigetti.
Okay.
She's served as a Youngstown City Councilwoman. She's been a part of, excuse me. She's been a commissioner for, she's been a commissioner for, I believe this will be Carol's third term. It's either her second or third term. She's worked incredibly hard to do things like get our county up to a AAA bond rating, for example, which I mean, obviously you guys know is a big deal. They've worked incredibly hard as a team to balance our budget, for example, despite the fact that we've seen a relentless attack on local government funds from the county, or not from the county, I'm sorry, from the state.
From the state.
And so, we've got someone incredibly qualified like that you can make the argument every day she goes to work makes your life better.
Who's running against her?
So she's running against a guy named Gino, whose sole qualification is he was pulled up on stage at a Trump rally. That's it.
Gino.
That's where they start. That's where it starts.
Gino's his last name?
No, his last DeFabio, something like that.
Yeah.
But I've yet to see something that he actually wants to do for Mahoning County. It's just all about being anti-Carol. So on one hand, you've got someone who's going to work every day trying to make your life better, right? Like whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, a member of the Green Party, the Working Families Party, the Tea Party, doesn't matter. She's going to work trying to make your life better. Then you've got somebody who's running against her. But the things that we just spent an hour talking about drowned out the narrative. That's the only point I'm trying to make here. Is the things that we just spent an hour talking about are incredibly important things. I'm not trying to discount that one bit. And they're conversations that need to happen if we're ever going to get back to normalcy in this country. But we also have to make sure we're paying attention to who's in charge at a local level.
Oh, I have a question for you.
Well, real fast. Local. We've focused on really watching our local governments when we can. Poland, Village. I mean, they hate us down there because I mean, they absolutely hate us.
Yeah.
And because we've caught them doing stuff, or what we feel we've caught them doing stuff. Sure. That has always flown under the radar. And these little towns do it.
Yeah.
And we have really kind of cracked down on that. And Republican, Democrat, whatever, all of the people in our area have to start watching their local governments. I'm not just saying state. I'm not saying county. I'm saying everywhere because, like you said, you vote for it, right? I mean, you said this is so important. We played such a part in our local stuff this time. It's like these people don't understand what's going on.
No.
Yeah. So the other thing you mentioned there, I wish politicians, and I hope you do this in the future too, because I've caught you doing it on your Facebook page. Talk about what your candidates are bringing to the table, and it's not just you guys, by the way. It's everybody. Not talk shit about the other candidate.
I think that's good. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, I have a question. I have a question. Okay, so let's say, like you said, that
dude, it's getting late too. It's 1:09.
Who was that lady? Who was that lady that you said was fighting for both sides? Who goes to work every single day?
County
Carol?
Commissioner. Carol. She's with our board.
County Commissioner.
She's with our board.
Okay.
County.
Let's say another county commissioner in the future. There's a situation like that where it's somebody, you're friends with them, just like Carol. They are fighting for, doesn't matter what party, but they're a Republican. And the person running against them is a Democrat. But you just know that person is a pile of garbage, ethically, morally, and they're just running under the guise of being a Democrat. Who do you vote for?
Wait, back to Charlie up. Say that again.
Okay. So you have in the future, there's a running, two people are running for commissioner, that same lady's position. And you're friends with, you don't agree with them all the time, but you're friends with this Republican, okay? You're friends with this Republican.
Yeah.
They go to work and they don't care. Like you said, just like this Carol lady, they don't care what side of the party they're on. They go to work every single day. They work their hardest for these people, yada, yada, yada. But they're Republican. And then you have a Democrat running against them. Ethically, morally, they're not a good person, but they're running under the guise of being a Democrat and say they agree with everything that you agree with. Who do you vote for?
So I look at politics like a bit like a bus stop, right?
Okay.
You're never going to find the bus stop that gets you exactly where you want to go. And I'm sure that there's somebody who's going to hop on here and find me a bus stop that's right outside of some fucking destination.
Yeah.
But so you pick the bus stop that gets you the closest. In my case, I know that the Democrat is going to get me closer to where I want to go.
That's horseshit.
So
That is so
that's messed up.
so wrong.
Yeah, that's BS. you need to vote.
I think that is everything that's wrong with politics right there in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Because this person is a piece of garbage.
So
but
I
they're
will.
Democrat, so you vote.
I will add in too, because you're asking that of a county party chair, that our candidates that we support and endorse are candidates who go through an incredibly thorough vetting process as well. One of the first things.
They slip through the cracks. They somehow slip through the cracks.
Do you ever get anybody that's not that's applying
that is not a good candidate as a Democrat?
What do you mean a good
So
candidate?
So some guy that comes up that has a record that
they somehow slip through the cracks. They somehow
anybody can run if they get the signatures.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, anybody can run if they get the signatures and they meet the other criteria, sure.
So you get some guy that has a record.
And no. It's not about Democrat or Republican. That happens on both sides.
Both sides. Yeah. It's not liberal stuff, Lori. No.
Like people, if they're gung ho one side, they don't care if the person is an all around good person. You might disagree with them, but I will vote for that person I disagree with if I know all together they're a better person. I don't care what side they sit on.
Yeah, and this isn't about a liberal or conservative right here, Lori. This is the problem. What Isaac and I feel, our opinion, what we feel is a problem with today's politics is that it's not. And here's the thing: we had Tom McCabe. He's still the freaking Republican guy, right?
Tom's a good guy.
I think
if you brought Tom in here. And you ask the same exact question to the Republican chair, he's going to give you the exact same answer.
I just don't.
I think you have to remember too. You're asking that question of the county's chief partisans.
Yeah, that's true too.
But still, I don't think that matters. I think if there's a good person that you might disagree with, that
it'd be like asking me to cheer for a Pittsburgh Steeler.
But if dude, I'm about ready to cheer for the Steelers after the ethical debacle of the Browns.
Yeah,
dude.
True.
I'm going into that week 1 rooting for Baker Mayfield. Dude, I might become a Panthers fan. I want them to beat the living shit out of the Browns week 1.
Dude, we got to get out of here because this poor guy, what time does he wake up? 4:30? He's going to fall asleep.
No, it's not that I wake up. Like, it's just when my kid gets up. You know what I mean?
4:30?
Yeah, so Colin's going through a little bit of a sleep regression now. He's about 7 months.
Oh, push through.
Yeah. I'm not worried about it. You know what I mean? Normally, I'm a... Well, and let me rephrase this too. Colin will get up at like 4:30 and want fed, right?
Yeah.
And then he'll go right back to sleep. You know, great kid. But it's me who's then like wired of like, oh crap, well, I'm up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if it's like a 1 o'clock feeding or something like that, like I can totally go back to bed.
4 o'clock's like right there.
Right. 4 o'clock's like right there. Like
Fred, I have to disagree with you.
I disagree.
I know you're doing that on
crap.
purpose. I know you're being a butthole and you're doing that on purpose.
He's totally doing it on purpose.
But you get the point I'm making, Fred. It can happen on the other side too. And like he said, he's gotta vote Democrat. But
and I would point out too, if he's gonna try and insult me, he should at least use the proper form of there.
Oh, dude.
So
yeah, he is right.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like all these people are gonna and these guys will all vote Republican. Like he said, they're all gonna vote Republican no matter what. Yeah. I'm not voting for a gosh darn Democrat. Why not? Yeah. Why would you not vote for who's best? Okay. All right, dude. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, anytime.
This has been a very deep conversation.
Anytime.
Yeah. We'll have him back on. I want to because I like conversations like this. We should see if we can get Tom McCabe and him on. Like
Can we ask him?
Dude, that'd be really fun.
I don't know if Tom McCabe's going to talk to me after we got flipped off by a Republican candidate.
I need to write stuff down. Like I get so lost in my own. Like I need to write shit down. If I'm gonna. I need to write my thoughts down so that I don't lose myself.
How about Chris just called me out and he said, dude, did you read the article I sent you? I was like, I skimmed it.
Yeah. This is why we have a warning at the beginning of our show.
All right, everybody. We are the MLO Bros. Isaac, give us our speech.
The MLO Bros stands for Mortgage Loan Originator Brothers. Thank you, everybody, for watching. But our day job, what pays our bills, is mortgage loan originator service. So we are loan officers. If you're buying, selling, you need to refinance, give us a call.
Hey, by the way, Tom just texted me back and said he'll come on with me. So
good.
So much fun.
Dude, that'd be awesome, right?
But
let's do it.
I'm in the middle of my talk.
Sorry. I got real. I just wanted to put that out there.
But please think of us the next time you're purchasing a home, refinance. We'll take care of you guys. NMLS number 1949316, so we don't get sued. Luke, what's your NMLS number?
562-548.
You can call us. Our information is on our page. My cell is 330-921-8978. If you need a loan, please.
All right.
Also check out our sponsors.
Yeah.
The Sakone Law Firm, Valley Insurance, Iron Fit Crew. What was the other one? Subaru?
Yep, Subaru. Tom Herman.
Tom Bird Herman, that guy.
Yeah.
They are our sponsors. Check them out for all that good stuff. But thank you everyone for
Real
watching.
fast.
We appreciate you.
Tuesday.
What about Thursday?
Or wait,
What are we doing
Thursday we're getting drunk.
Drinking with the MLO Bros. We're gonna have Joe.
We're gonna
from
buy a bunch
Youngstown
of
Studio.
from gas stations. You know, like those. little
Jeremy,
things
you're
they
gonna
have.
buy cheapers.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
You know what I'm
God.
talking
I had
about?
a bad
Mad
experience
Dog.
with Orloff with
Oh.
Orloff vodka.
No,
Yeah.
well, it's this thing. It's those little fun things they have when you check out at the gas station.
Yeah, the
little
shot
The little
Yeah.
shots.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get a bunch of those.
And we'll talk about Ghost, but we're just gonna drink along with the MLO Bros. Who knows what we'll talk about on Thursday, and then Friday we have a sports show.
Yep.
We're gonna talk about high school football with Youngstown Outcasts.
And 330 Sports Show.
And 330 Sports Show.
And Meludic.
And
Live.
Meludic
We
Live.
have
I think
everybody
it'll be a
around.
lot of fun.
Next Tuesday, who we got? Trent Conway, East Palestine mayor.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
he's making it.
I've
he's
picked
making
on
this
East
round.
Palestine so many times. I'm
Oh,
excited
dude.
to talk to him.
He's
Such a good sport.
coming for you. He told me that.
Is he?
He's like, your asshole brother who keeps picking on East Palestine. He's coming for you. All right, dude. Again, thanks a lot for coming, man, and good luck. And
thanks,
it's
man.
been cool seeing you. Like I said, I don't even know how we became Facebook friends, but
Yeah.
I've seen him kind of rise through the ranks
Oh,
over the last couple of years as we
yeah.
kind of talk back and forth. So,
Absolutely.
good luck. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, anytime, guys.
And like
Anytime.
I said, we'll talk to you about getting McCabe on.
Yeah, I mean, he said he'll do it with me. So
Dude,
Tom
how
and
about
I are friends. So
That would be a
You're
blast.
friends with the Republican?
I'm friends with several.
Wow.
See, we're making progress. we're making
All right,
progress.
guys. Hey, if you haven't already,
So-
drop down below. Give us a like. Help us out. Also, share the podcast with your friends. We'd appreciate you.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah.
Everybody, we'll see you guys Thursday. Bye.
Bye.
Fred, go to bed. Go to sleep, Fred. Fred is still talking. Go to Fred. Go to
bed,
sleep.
Fred.
Go to Fred. Go to bed. Go drink something. Go to bed. All right. See you guys. Bye, everybody.
I don't know which camera to wave at.
You can do it. It's okay. Bye.